Hey, it's Backyard Adventures with Andy, and I'm going to take you through today from start to finish how I built this archway behind me and some of the thoughts, some of the tips, and a couple time-lapse videos that I think will be enjoyable, a little bit entertaining, a little bit educational. So leave some comments and like this video if it's helpful. Enjoy. My name is Andy and welcome back to Backyard Adventures. Today I'm going to take you through a project from start to finish of how we built a new garden archway here in the backyard. We have an old arch you can see behind me here that was built for a hot tub years ago. We used it for kind of a walkway when that hot tub went away, and it's been fine, but it's not really in the kind of the center pathway of where we're going, kind of where the eye is drawn, where we want the walkways to go. So we're going to take this thing, take it down, and then kind of build a new one shifted here so that when we walk back towards the house, towards the patio, kind of draws the attention there and kind of creates kind of a cool yard feature, as well as you leave from the house and go back out here into the backyard, it'll kind of give some perspective and kind of balance out the different things that are going here in the yard. So let me show you some different viewpoints from the yard and kind of let you see what we're working with, and then I'll kind of walk you through how we do this, and maybe this will inspire you to go and build something similar in your yard. All right, for this first shot, we're looking towards the house, and you can see the old arch there to the right of that patio. We also want to tie in kind of the pathways, not only to the backyard, but also to this, to my wife's studio here and the entrance to that. So this is from under the patio area, and then this current arch, this is where the hot tub used to be, back before we had this patio cover and just different things. But with a hot tub gone, this has kind of created a path. It works, but it doesn't necessarily visually tie in with this current patio. And then also the traffic patterns, we want to shift more towards this opening right here. And so we're going to kind of go for more of a Y, where as people walk out, they can go to the left to that studio, or possibly they can go out to the right and go out into the yards. For this first step, I'm going to mark where the posts are going to go. So I'm going 2 feet out from my patio, just to leave a little bit of margin there for things down the road possibly. And then I've got 4 feet between my posts, and I'm just taking a stake and put it in there. All right, so I've got the 3 holes dug here, 4 feet apart, and they are approximately, what I think, about 24 inches. Yeah, so about 24 inches deep. Next step is to get my fence post and kind of make sure they're all lined up, everything's straight, before I get the concrete and kind of put them in for good. All right, so as you can see at this point, I've got these round tubes, and I want to have just kind of a nice clean exposed edge of any concrete that could be shown. So this is about where the garden surface will be down the road. So these will probably be right at that edge where they might even be hidden. But I got those tubes there just a few inches down into the dirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those things lined with some old motor oil just to kind of act as a lubricant for the concrete form, so I can eventually peel those off of there and they'll be good. All right, as you can see, I've got these 3 posts set in the concrete. Those are all set. These are all parallel with each other. They're perpendicular, and as much as possible, nice and flat here, where I can just put up a board on those and it'll be ready to go. I've had to check the top on the level, and this one right here is about just a 1/4 inch lower than these 2 on the end, but once I have everything, it's not going to be noticeable, but it'll work. And I'll use this kind of to guide my opposite side here, but as you can see, I've got some work to take this thing down, kind of clean out some things a little bit in order to get the new post in there. I want to stop and take a moment to give you a little tip on taking out bolts and nuts from old ones, as well as putting in new ones. You want to be real cautious about pounding in those threads. What I like to do is, see here, I back the nut up all the way to the end so it's just over where the bolt is, and then I can pound against the nut and it doesn't strip or dent or mess with those threads, so I can actually reuse those bolts and have them for the next project. And it's the same thing with new ones. You don't want to pound on the end of a bolt, you want to put a nut there. I'm at the spot now where I'm ready to go ahead and put these new poles in for this side. And what I've done is I've taken a string and measured out the how much kind of width I want here with this archway. And I'm going for about 9 feet. And then I've gone ahead and made this parallel, checked my measurement, and then I've laid out my 3 metal stakes of about center of where my holes need to be. Before I move on, I want to show you a little detail of what I'm doing with the setting the post in. What I've done is I've got the very tip of the top of this hole a little wider so I can fit this in there, and I've got it level with the other side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some motor oil. My son was just changing his oil, and I want to line the inside of this with the motor oil, hopefully help the concrete not stick to it. Set that back in here, and I've got this, one of my 4x4s, I've got it over on the opposite side. I'm just going to check the levelness to see if I need to go up or down with that. And that's actually perfectly level there. I'm going to actually have the cylinder slightly off balance so that any water will drain off of it. Alright, so I'm going to explain how I've got this working. So up above I've got that 4x4 I'm going to use for my leveling, and I know I want it level with that post. These are level, so I know I got to go down here. I got to figure out where I need to cut that, in order for it to be level. And I'm actually going to figure out about where it's at, take it down an inch, because when I'm in the concrete I can always lift it up a little bit and kind of let it sit on, have a couple inches of concrete or so underneath it.
have now finished this current step, so you can see we got all 6 posts behind me are set in concrete and curing, drying, getting taken care of. So I don't know if you noticed, but that last one there, I didn't get a chance to do the same day as these other ones in that same time, so I had to go back and just do that now. So that one is now fresh concrete and getting dried. So while I want to take the cardboard off of each of those forms, I'm going to give those some extra time. This is January right now, and just with the cold temperatures, concrete needs a little more time to get taken care of. Typically not a big fan of cold weather, so I'll give those plenty of time before I take them off, just so I have a nice, crisp, clean circle around that. But next step is going to be putting on these cross beams, so I'm going to get those measured, figure out the design, and take you to that now.
I want to show you a little bit of an example. This is how I've traditionally done my arches. Kind of done a cutout that last 1.5 feet or so, depending on how much overhang I've got. And I've got the 2 boards running parallel, and nothing super fancy, but as the plants grow on there, it adds kind of a nice touch. I've got 2 2x6s running parallel around a 4x4, so that's kind of the design I've gone for my yard. Nothing super complicated, and I just do a basic cutout. I'll make a template of that and then trace it on each of the ends of the 2x6, and then move that over to those posts. Let's go over and I'll show you how I cut these. So I've got 15 inches of overhang at the end, from the end of the 4x4 out to the very end of the board, to figure out my cut. And so this is going to be pretty similar to the last one I had, the old one, but what I'm going to typically do is I get about 2/3 of that I want to have as cut out, and then I want to have a little bit of the thickness showing before it gets to the 4x4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my this first one and use this kind of as a template, trace it out, and then take a jigsaw, and I'm just going to go through and cut that end piece and use that as a template for all 6 of these, so I have the same on both ends. Hey, I wanted to stop and just show you how I'm attaching and putting these together with the lag bolt. So I'm actually reusing the lag bolts I had from the last arch. They're in pretty good shape. What I'm doing is when I put these pieces up there, I attach them with a long screw on the bottom, and so they're all in the right place, having both sides. And then in the top where I would have maybe another screw, that's where I'm actually going to put my lag bolt. And so I'm going to drill that, get it all attached, then I'll take out those bottom screws and then go ahead and put this second bolt in. So I have these attached with 2 lag bolts, a top and a bottom, and so you can kind of watch what I do here. Well, that is a wrap for today's archway. Well, it's not really today, this week's archway. It's taken me a few extra days between time after work and all that, but the archway is up. It is set. There's a couple little things I still want to do to it. One of those is the cardboard around the post. I went and took one of them apart today. It peeled off pretty well with a just kind of prying it, but I think if I give it another week, just that moisture in the cardboard, it is not going to like to sit there, and I think I could just peel it off. It'll fall apart. So I'll come back to that later. Also, I have an idea, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do this yet, but I got the old 4x4 posts, and I think if I go and cut those, and I could almost make some like angle brackets that could go from post up to the overhang. Maybe they're about 3 feet, 4 feet long, and it'll add a little bit of beauty to just kind of having some different shapes there on the archway, as well as that 9-foot span on the top. One of the things I'm looking at that I'm kicking around is that over time, I think that even though there's not a lot of weight on there, I think that's going to sag a little bit in the middle. And if I can just add those 4x4 posts in there, it'll add just a little bit more strength, kind of keep that nice and straight. You know, there's going to be hanging baskets, wisteria, things like that, and I think it'll just add a little bit more to it, both strength-wise and beauty. So I think I might be doing that in the next couple of months. Got to kind of chew on that. I wasn't planning on that. But then also the fun stuff is coming. We've got the wisteria, the clematis, putting the hanging baskets, all that stuff that's coming as spring comes. And so I'm sure you'll see some more videos. In fact, fact, I know you're going to see some more videos in the days ahead. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see what's coming up. Hit like if this has been helpful in some way. Maybe some comments of things you think would be maybe better to do differently next time. Ideas you've got. What are you up to with your archway? And hopefully today's backyard adventure has been helpful. It's been fun. A little bit longer than what I wanted to have happen. I thought I could get this done in a day, and it's taken a little more time than that. But I'm excited for the growing season. Have a wonderful day.